Well, my son Samuel was in custody because he had an argument with his father and made a threat to him, so his father had him arrested. While he was in custody, he called home to say that he was going to be going for a 90-day psychiatric evaluation. He arrived at Patton. About 4:15 in the afternoon, he called to let the family know he arrived. Unknowns to me, at 8:30, it was med time, and Samuel didn't want to medicate. Staff came from behind my son, threw a padded blanket over his face, which muffs out sound, and took him down to physically force him to be injected with psychotropic medications. And my son had about 9 staff members sat on him and crushed him until they crushed the life out of him. And the only way they knew that he was no longer alive was that one of the staff members commented, "His legs aren't moving anymore. He's not moving." Well, I spoke to the hospital shortly after, and they confirmed that he had an accident and he had passed on, but that they had a great burial plan that they could help me with if I didn't have any money to bury him. Well, I was appalled. I said, "What do you mean burial plans? Back up, I can't even believe my son is dead. What happened?" Well, they didn't really know. They said that they think that he was drinking beer. And I said, "Drinking beer in a facility? If he was transferred from the Los Angeles County to a hospital, do they customary make beer runs? Where did he get beer?" Well, they said, "Well, we don't know, we're not sure, but he died." Later on, I was told that he was trying to attack staff with a chair. Now the hospital is giving me different versions about what happened. That he tried to attack staff with a chair. Later, I find out that he just didn't want to be medicated. He begged not to be medicated. I didn't know how to act because my son was dead, and I remember it being very difficult because my son was unjustly killed. I wouldn't want another mother to go through what I went through. Nobody should go through this. My life has been ruined. My joy has been stolen.
I was 24 years old, and I was married to a very successful evangelist. We were very, very happy. We planned to have our first child. I married this man when I was 19, and we planned our first child when I was 24. And so I became pregnant with my first child, very, very happy, everything going great. We were traveling all over, and I had my child 2 months premature. I had a sick baby because he was 2 months premature, and I was in California without any help, and I cried all the time. So my husband came back to Houston and brought me back to Houston and talked to a psychiatrist, and psychiatrist told my husband that the best thing that he could do would give me something called electroconvulsive therapy. So we went into the psychiatrist's office, and the psychiatrist told me that there was this procedure that he could do that I wouldn't be depressed anymore, and that all you would do is he would put some electrodes to my head, and that there would be no pain in it, and that everything would be fine. So I went into the hospital, supposedly for rest, quote unquote. Well, they straitjacketed me. They took me into this room, and they shocked me. That's all. They did what they set out to do. I was 24 years old. It's just when they got through with me, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't read. I couldn't do anything. I didn't even know how to put my shoes on the right feet. I didn't know who my husband was. Didn't know who my child was. Didn't remember having a child. So basically what they did is they ruined my life. They totally raped my mind. I just hope I can explain to you that it is the most devastating, brutal crime on humanity, and it needs to be stopped.
John Cremona was an active, vibrant, 85-year-old man, a world traveler, a man who spoke 7 languages, reads and writes 5 languages. There came a time where John was having trouble physically. He needed some physical help because of his age, and he just needed treatment. He was under care of the Veterans Administration. And so we were looking for some assistance in helping John in a better living facility. Since he was an outpatient of the VA, I went to the VA. They have homes that they call assisted care for the elderly. My first knowledge of Dr. Chu came about when John had called me and told me he had had a run-in with a psychiatrist at one of his care facilities. He was upset about something to do with the care. Dr. Chu had him removed from the facility and put in a mental hospital. I was deeply concerned about this, echoed my objections, said that this is not where he belonged, and was told that Dr. Chu had made the decision to move him there. And I said, well, can we get another decision? I had asked, can we bring in another doctor? And they said no, that the state would take care of it, that right now he was under the control of the public guardian of Orange County. I questioned that because I said there had never been a legal proceeding that had done that, and they said they could do it without a legal proceeding. They could put a hold on him simply based on the doctor's say-so. John, in the meantime, has gone from a robust man who was an intelligent, articulate, quite capable 86-year-old gentleman to a man who's wearing diapers, is bedridden, and cannot maintain a thought for more than a few minutes without drifting away. Due to the horrible psychotic drugs this vindictive, vicious Dr. Chu has put on this man. This psychiatrist, man who's supposed to work to heal people, has done nothing but destroy this man's life, and in destroying his life, destroying the lives of all of his loved ones. Excuse me. I'm sorry. What this doctor has done to my stepfather, to my mother, is just absolutely unconscionable. These people should be enjoying their lives. They work hard. These are people that are good people that never ever committed any crime or did anything against anyone. And now they are reduced to fighting a system and a doctor and a court system that holds themselves out above all law, above all consciousness, above justice. There has been no justice. This man has been denied his civil rights. He's been denied his human rights. And he's been reduced to a virtual vegetable. He has lost his will to live in a year and a half because of a heavy dose of psychotic drugs. We have petitioned the court over and over and over again to have him removed to another facility, to have him removed from the care of this doctor, this psychotic psychiatrist. This is criminal. These are drug dealers. They're not doctors. My mother has had one bright spot in this whole year and a half of chaos that we've lived through, and that was the organization that she contacted who dealt with the human rights. She had contacted him through an advertisement about if you were having trouble with a psychiatrist or with the mental health facilities, contact this number and we'd like to talk to you about it. He came in and listened to her story and heard her anguish. and was a real help to her, and that's why I'm being videoed today, because of that organization and their interceding on her behalf in dealing with this. I just hope that somehow that these groups can get together and there can be an appeal made to someone. The anger and frustration that I feel towards psychiatry cannot be expressed in words. This is not science. This is nonsense.
Shayna was the sunshine of our lives. Shayna was full of life and energy. Shayna started dancing when she was 3 years old. She took tap, jazz, and ballet. She loved to do karaoke. Oh, she would sing her heart out. Shayna was such a joy, absolute joy. When she started kindergarten, she was kind of excited about going, but yet she was reluctant about breaking away from mom and dad. And but she did well at first. Then she started to not want to go as much. First grade, the first couple of weeks were good for Shayna. She seemed to enjoy going. Then we noticed little by little that she was starting to revert back to finding reasons not to go to school. So the teacher made a suggestion that we have Shayna tested for learning support. So we're talking about April of 1999, April 1st, a matter of fact, of 1999. She's placed in learning support at the end of January, so from January to April, we're satisfied that she's doing better, wanting to go to school. All of a sudden, on April 1st, I receive a letter from the school psychologist. And the letter stated that Shayna had all the characteristics of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and needed to be looked at. The doctor that we took Shayna to advertised for child and adolescent psychiatry and specialized in ADHD. 45 minutes, walked out with a prescription in hand, a definite diagnosis of ADHD. And my daughter was placed on a drug called desipramine. And he said it was safe, effective in treatment for ADHD, and that we would definitely see positive outcome of placing her on the drug. I had no reason to distrust what he was telling me. And Shayna started out on 10 milligrams of desipramine, and over a year's period, her dosages were enormously increased. And again, I would question the doctor, and the doctor's protocol would always say, Shayna was metabolizing the drug quicker than most adults do, and because of that, they can take an adult dosage of medicine. We were into February of 2001, and I can remember that Shayna, I noticed that she was starting to act a little differently. The teacher called us twice that week and said that Shayna was showing agitation. She threw a pencil at another student and picked up a pair of scissors off of a desk one day and went like this. So the very next day, when we took her to the psychiatrist told us that what we were seeing were not side effects from the desipramine, and that Shayna's body was metabolizing the drug quicker than most adults do, and that we needed to increase her dosage from 200 milligrams to 250. It was exactly 7 days from the time I increased the dosage. 10 o'clock that morning, I received a phone call from the school nurse. She said, Vicki, this is Sue Bennett, and I just wanted to tell you that Shayna had taken a fall in library today. She said, but Vicki, I'm not sure if Shayna had a slight seizure. And immediately I panicked, and I said, Sue, we'll be right there. I called my husband. I said, go pick her up. And the minute she pulled in, I opened the door and went out, and I picked her up and I hugged her and I said, baby girl, are you all right? Mommy, I'm fine. And I said, well, we're going to go see the doctor. We pulled into the parking lot at the pediatrician's office. I signed her name on the clipboard, let them know that we were there. I turned to go back, and as I did, I seen a most horrifying look on my daughter's face. She goes like this. And I said, Shayna, what's wrong? And she didn't respond. So I panicked and I screamed, my God, help me, help me. And the doctor takes his stethoscope and he puts it on and he listens to her heart. And he looks up and he says, "Call a code 99. I knew it was cardiac arrest. So my husband and I and the nurse and the doctor picked our daughter up. We took her into a room and they took her shirt off and Shayna took 2 breaths of air and she was gone. It's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. And the drug that she was given is what caused the seizure, giving her the toxic high dosages time after time. And her body metabolizing the drug, as the so-called psychiatrists would say she was doing, was not metabolizing. It was increasingly building up toxic levels until it put her into cardiac arrest. We buried our child in Rose Hill Cemetery, which is just a couple streets from where we live. We don't go to dance class now. We don't go to piano lessons or girls' softball games. We go to a cemetery. When they say to you, losing a child is the worst nightmare in the world, it's honest to God, the absolute truth. We really thought we were the only ones. We didn't know where to begin to reach out. And one day I started getting on the website. And actually the morning that I thought, I can't give up, I've got to fight. And I got on the website and I started emailing. And I came across CCHR website. And that's how I got associated with Citizens Commission on Human Rights. So I sat down and I emailed them my story. I got a phone call one day and it was from CCHR. And they were like, your story needs to be told. We want to help you. It was the best I could have ever done because CCHR has been a godsend. And I know that their mission here on earth to help other people and to prevent children from going through what we've been through and parents, God help them. I mean, they're just so wonderful. I can't say enough about them.